Hello everybody, this is Connor. Welcome back with more Islanders New Shores. We can find out real quick if this is going to be a recording that ever sees the light of day. So let's just start placing our vergers and see if we get a second seaweed farm in our next building pack and also a bunch of vergers. I really prefer being offered verger first, but this start is at least worth playing out a little bit. Now, a few handy tricks to help you in placing your vergers. So you can think about using flat surfaces to determine where the verger's stuff is. So you see when I'm placing here, I have 3 flowers and then a collection of trees which are in a certain shape, and they'll hold that same shape anywhere that I place trees. So you can find a good spot to look at the trees and then kind of concept where they are. You'll also see that it's possible to get 4 flowers, even though up here there's only 3 occurring. There is kind of a catch-up mechanic flower, which is also the 4th fishing spot if you place Verger on a tundra map. So if we use the mountainside here, it might be possible to get a 4th flower on the stone, or if not, a 4th flower on the sand, if we wanted to get 4 flowers. Now, of course, initially I'm actually trying not to get flowers in the middle of my placement area. You'd want to place your vergers such that your flowers do not impede future vergering. So like a placement like this is quite lovely, but it does create that one forward flower kind of in the middle of the screen right now, which would block too much in the future. So sadly not takeable, but this verger is lovely. You get a lot of trees, and the flowers are far enough outside of the center that you can then also do a placement like this. And I don't love that trailing flower either. I like 15 points though. That's worse. This isn't terrible. I might end up taking that 15. I guess let's look at the shape, right? So mostly clustered in 2 chunks. Flowers in just a simple triangle, of course. So I could, yeah, do something like this. It does create that one bottom flower, which is in a bad placement spot, but I could also shift that flower down the slope some. You see these are, some of these, not the ones I'm currently on, but some of these are 4 flower placements as well. So let's do that. And then find a flower placement right about here that doesn't create any flowers to the left of itself. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but this is pretty good. Okay, and then this has to reward me well, or else you won't be seeing this. Okay, well, a second seaweed farm, only 1 verger. So, hey, this might actually be a run. So, I'm currently doing the short journey challenge. So when we look at the leaderboard, you see I'm currently 3rd. I've done, I think, 2 total runs of this, and I'm aiming for these scores that are within a stone's throw of me. But this run did not utilize any of the new tech that we've been discovering, different ways to use boons, especially level up, and negative scores, and some trickeries with Blossom. So I think there is a lot of skill potential left on the table. My run also did not have a property for the 3rd island, and it is possible to get like a stellar or maybe a ley line island as your 3rd island in one of these runs. So obviously that would contribute to a high score. So I think there's a lot of potential to outscore my previous run, but that does start with getting lucky here. Okay, so this distribution of trees is actually quite good for this placement. You can see that I've selectively left this like massive gap in and among the flowers here, so I can actually place this close to the statue still. I do want to place this 14 and then think about if another right here could tag the statue. It looks like it could without getting a single flower, and in that case I think that 14 is worthwhile. I also now have a second seaweed farm, so I placed this one kind of quickly because I wasn't sure if this was going to be my actual island. But one of the things that has come out of the new strategy and discussion occurring in the New Shores Discord is that people have become stronger proponents of delaying their city center. So you may have noticed that I did not take city center initially. I believe it was offered to me. That was my third pack choice. Because at least on these early islands, the high initial scores of some of the more like industrial or manufacturing buildings outweigh the long-term benefits of having more houses and mansions. So just because of kind of the short nature of these islands, and maybe on other islands, the jury's still kind of out. We are still discussing, and obviously that's a bad placement. I should place the sand pit first because sand pits go before all other building types. And when I think critically about where my industry buildings are going to be, first Fisher probably goes right here. Lumber is going to be somewhere up in this central area. So let's do a sand pit back in this corner to make sure that it can get warehoused. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to beat a 15, so I do need to place one seaweed field as well. That's okay. So hello, it's been a while since I recorded any content for a number of reasons. Firstly, I just kind of got burned out. I mean, doing a full game run and then immediately back to back and do a second full game run, saving up all those sealed boons for my big temple. That was just a lot of New Shores to play, and I have a pretty active social life and other games that I enjoy. I've been playing Blueprints and Expedition 33 primarily. Little bit of Silksong has not grabbed me as much as some of my peers. I think... So this is one other revelation in early island strategy, and the first island of the quick journey, the short journey, is different than the first island of a traditional run because you already have all buildings unlocked. So like the fact that I'm thinking about Verger at all is not going to be the case in a high score run. So I can start placing fields around my monument. If you're not going city early, sorry, not monument, statue. Your statue is going to mostly belong to your field buildings. They're very common. They get a good score bonus off of it, and they're compact. I'm tempted to use these to kill these flowers. So I will get at least a park, maybe a hermitage, and having flowers alive matters for that. But with my next Verger, if those flowers were all built over, I could really place it close up in here. So I think, given that I need 29 whole points, so if I go 9, and then I think it'll be 11 for the next one. Yeah, 9, 11, 13 is plenty of points. So I don't have to kill any flowers before I see what my next buildings are. But then the number of hops fields it'll take to actually kill all 3, I think this will be at least 2 hops fields. How about I kill 1 flower to start off with and leave the other 2 for now, kind of to minimize the harm if I end up wanting them to actually be there. And I'm just going to place these in whatever weird little squirrely spots I can that I don't think future vergers are going to want trees, because I'm not going to completely fill this area. It does not seem likely. So placing just for size is not as much of a concern. Still delaying city. third seaweed farm immediately pays off how decisive I've been in holding back seaweed here. Getting a bunch of early seaweed farms is a good way to succeed on the first island. I think here is fine. It'll give me a few triple placements. I wish I could turn it differently, but... And now that I've, like I said, I placed this one kind of quickly because I didn't actually expect this island to turn out. It might have been better for me to go 1, 2, 3. That might be a little stronger. You got to avoid the fish generally. This is too far apart. So there is a player named Snooze who also makes videos. I'll link Snooze's videos in the channel description, or in the video description below, pardon. And Snooze is awesome. I think Snooze's videos, he has a similar kind of methodical, numbers-driven approach to gameplay, is really direct in explaining the tactics that he's using, like just a great contributor to the community. And if you enjoy my videos, I think it is likely you will enjoy his as well. So I would recommend checking out that link. But one of the things that he gets really into that I've been thinking more about is initial seaweed farm placement being not even really concerned with City Center, because the 2 points on City Center or the 2 points on Brewery that you can get from these farms just pales in comparison to how much value you can get by actually placing seaweed on them. And so placing them for optimal seaweeding is, I think, ultimately a more effective strategy, even if that means building on some islands far away from your mainland. That said, getting a 4th farm this early is unlikely and very lucky. I think nothing here is going to lose detection. So I could do something like this, which opens up a little bit more triple space right there. I think this placement does not create triple placements. No, sadly no. Okay, so if I'm not doing that, then I think I do want maybe like that. And then like there's a triple, and oh, there has to be a quad. Yeah, there's a quad. Okay, I mean, it's not perfect. I wonder if I could have placed this further forward to create the ability to go back to back right here, but given that that does not currently seem possible, I think instead we're going to play as far forward as I can. Forward meaning this direction. I guess forward is entirely arbitrary. Okay. You're really not going to beat a quad. But we do take triples still. Yeah, this has been excellent seaweed. So this is significantly contributing to my island success. Still going to delay city. I would love to get a couple more verdure, but... Oh wow, double lighthouse too. Only 1 lumberjack so far, which is bad fortune, because as you can see, lumberjacks with the early verdure do tend to be high scoring. Looking at my buildings, I think it's actually both fields still that I would like to play. And now I am starting to ponder about more efficient space utilization up here. Okay, so if I place this far enough away to leave a gap, but I don't want to place it in that gap since it kills a tree, so I might need to come back for that placement, but at least for right now, I can just keep doing this and not kill even a single one and leave those flowers for a future park, which currently a park right here would go pretty hard. Okay, 4 more of these will certainly get me the score I need. So let's play it. Wonder if there's another triple anywhere, or if I need to I wonder if there's a way to get 2 triples, or if I need to accept that that won't be happening. So I can take this weird double. That's probably not... Well, I don't know. I could put a 5th farm here if I happen to get one. Okay, what if instead I just come around here for a 20-point double? And then I can place a 32-point triple and still have this spot for another triple. I think that is ultimately a little bit better. Still gonna delay city. That's pretty good though. And let's go 1 and I'm wondering if I can put it far forward enough that it'll get detected by the seaweed farm that I place over here, but not so far forward that it blocks space that that farm would then detect, if that makes sense. We'll start there, and I still have a small spot here that I think is a triple. Mostly because I faced this one in the direction that the basket is hanging as far into the water as possible. That does matter. Okay, a little bit more of the sand buildup. Love to get an actual 15. And then, I mean, 21's pretty good. It might end up bothering a park that I placed over here, but okay. And then eventually you get to this point where I just refuse to take Cliff House before city. I don't have like a mathematically backed explanation for that, but everything in my gut tells me that when you're competing with Cliff House, it's time to go ahead and take the superior city choice, the city she tells you not to worry about. And lots of individual copies of industry buildings. I mean, the lighthouses are already going to be going hard. Yeah. There's like probably multiple 50-point lighthouses I could place. However, I do think I go mill first and start killing some of these trees. Now, the downside to that, as I place all of my fields around here, I'm not going to be able to get a ton of... Well, actually, these are killing fewer trees than I expected. Maybe this is totally fine. If I just do this sort of nonsense. Yeah, I mean, it gets me a lot of score loops and a lot of score. It is just, you know, earning goodly point totals. And yeah, this 16 doesn't kill anything, so that seems like a easy one to place. And just this sort of configuration, I'm going to get more buildings touching the statue than if I tried to do city in around it. I can get pretty good city center up here, though. That's interesting. Do wonder if that impacts where I'm going to want plateaus to be, which would impact where I want mason to be. I'd like to hold the mason because I only have 1 brickyard so far. I think I can do better, but at some point we have to do this, and then a second one. Second one might be a bit more challenging to place. Maybe I do just kill all the trees up here. But so far, this placement doesn't kill even a tree, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And if I end up with like a water platform out here, I doubt that I'll get that far in buildings, but that could be pretty good. Still going to avoid Cliff House as long as possible. We do kind of need to think about it, though, so I'm just going to have it in mind. And here is my first punishment for killing a flower. So this is a 2-point penalty if I do place it here. which is probably where I'm going to place it. I don't foresee anything else outscoring some of these little fiddly areas in here. Plus, this is potentially close enough for me to share some adjacency, like maybe with a house in this region. Okay, with my remaining points. So part of me says just, slam this down, or probably this. It kills way more trees, but I do need this space. I do need this adjacency. But I'd rather leave the trees for longer if possible. So it might just be time to play a lighthouse. And the odds of getting another farm, probably not great. And I'm also probably not going to be getting fish kite. Now I'm looking for scores that are, if I reverse the mason, going to be better. But I actually do think this 52 is the superior score, even with the, I think I said mason, sorry, even with the shaman placed. That 52 is pretty good. And then I have another good one over here. Oh, or that's actually a little better. So over here I have like 55, and over here I have 55. Okay, cool. So those can probably coexist. At least with 54. That is still a little bit more score total. Second shaman goes wild. Okay. I mean, I think you do just... Like, these buildings do matter. So I think stacking shamans is going to be worthwhile. This does kill a tree. So I could place my lumberjacks before killing that tree. That does appear to be a tree that they will score. See, I guess we do. Okay. So we'll do a 43, and then there's a 36 that kills one tree and gets in the way of my fielding. Is that worth 5 points? I think it is. I think we do place the 36. If there was like a cool 33 or something that didn't kill any trees, I would consider it. Speaking of, the 33 she tells you not to worry about. It is very present. It is here. Is 32 worth it? Is this worth 4 points? What a nuanced game this can be. So I think this placement will still tag the mill, and then I think I have 1 or 2 more placements. So I'm actually not super concerned with running out of space. I think I will kill a tree to place a 36-point lumberjack. Alright, and as previously discussed, this probably goes here. We need to think a little bit about where my now 2 city centers are going to go. Because I'm drawing 4 buildings. Okay. And need to get about 75 points. So let's discuss where my city is actually going to be built up. And for inspection's sake, I got nothing going on in the fish department except for out here. Alright, so wherever I place my masons, I'm going to want to be detected by my city center. And I have a 4 to 8 point incentive to place close to that cliff, which I think is just weaker than placing over here with my shamans. But the shaman has a small detection radius, so we want to come over to those. I'm going to place that last, at least relative to the masons, which have a larger detection radius. So I could just eat the -5 and just place along this cliff. I could also, and that's like a 2-point swing because I can get the statue involved, obviously. I could just place out here, which is probably equally good for the city centers. It's a little better for houses. It's a little worse for warehouses, though. I have 4 of these. So yeah, I'm gonna kill that flower. I'm okay with that. Again, maybe I will place 1 park that cares. And even that's not like foregone, you know. Okay, so I do like those 2. Let's do 1 out here just to avoid stacking up those giant negatives, but I guess, do I do 2 out here? Let me find the best 9 I can. So they're easily going to be within detection. Can I find some fancy shaman that avoids those negatives? I mean, -1 is, or +1 is kind of a nothing of a score, right? Like, I think it is worth 18 points versus placing the 19 over here, but it's certainly not exciting stuff. Or do I just want to place like a 22 over here that just happens to have a bunch of its rays blocked? Oh, 28? I mean, 28 is just a really high score. I don't think I'll get 27 points of value, especially with the various deductions that I'll be dealing with. Like deduction on double city center. That's going to add up. Okay, so in that case, I guess we can go over here. I'm not going to get like a temple or anything, so I don't really need to worry about that. Then City Center is not going to reach Fisher, but Fisher might reach City Center. So we can do City Center first. And I think if I place it here, it doesn't kill any trees yet. I do want to place it far enough over that I might be able to do some plateau ludicrousness right here. And I guess maybe in service of that, I place something else first. These trees are starting to get awful thin. I don't want to pick at them too much. Too much more, I should say. But I do need to place something, and I'm considering the brewery. Versus if I play this in here, looks like it's going to be killing 3 trees, no matter how I orient it. Oh, it also fits along this ledge. Interesting. So, is there a 0 kill spot along this ledge? There is. Let's start there. Doesn't kill any tree, keeps my industry buildings a little centered. I don't know if maybe that spot would fit a warehouse. It doesn't look wide enough, but it also doesn't look quite wide enough for this building even. But if it does fit a warehouse, I think this stretch end to end is still long enough. So hopefully I haven't just massively messed up there, but 2 lumberjacks is below average. I would expect to have more than 2 lumberjacks by now. There's that extra triple that we left ourselves, and I mean, a 23, even in a spot that I might want to save, is kind of hard to pass on. 19 is, or 20 is a fine consolation prize. I could just place field and then lighthouse, and that would be all the buildings that I need. Which is kind of nice, it's simple. Fewer buildings to move on is something that I generally seek. Was it this spot? Could have sworn I had a 23 right there. We go. Okay, we'll do that, and then I saw 58. And killing the flowers out here doesn't matter. Now, harbor-wise, having everything over here does create a 30-point harbor value. There's also a lot more fish over here, so there's like a 24, 27 along here. If I wanted my harbor to potentially boost some houses, I could accept a 25. These are going to be worse. Okay. So 30 is my score just for points. Or if I want to maybe help some houses, I could go over here. That's not like a huge driver for me, though. It's +3 per house, and the house would have to be like here or something, which is not... doesn't seem super likely given how big these numbers are and the fact that I'm only drawing 3. So let's just place this for value. And I guess, I mean, there's some chance that I can place it here and detect one or both city center, which would be powerful. Also, it was totally like clipped around this rock. I hope everybody saw that. I don't exactly know where or how or what angle accomplished that, but I was surprised that it let me do that. Okay, so if I place, this is not staying down, I'm just kind of checking. That's close enough to detection that I could probably fudge it a little and find a way to wiggle everything and place this just a little bit further over. Now it might be time to go ahead and take the 23. And then a -12, I mean, I guess the question is, do I think I can pay off 31 to -12? So it's a 43-point swing if I place it here. Now I immediately recoup 6, and this is going to get its point either way, so nothing there. So 6 points, and then a few mansions that could double count, sure. Then all 4 houses. I kind of think it does pay off, actually. I think it's probably really close. But I'm going to get 1 or 2 more of these buildings. So I think I need to place this for mansion value, which I think means placing it right there. I think there'll be several, well, maybe 2 mansions that can tag in everything here. Yeah, let's go with that. And then still kind of hoping to put a plateau here or something, but Now we can get our 37 better than that 30 we were looking at previously, like markedly better. And then just an 11. Not a lot that the docks actually score on, so 11's fine. I guess we just go for this 14. It's not going to boost houses either way. We'll take the very slightly better score. And then all the way out here for a 45, or love to get that second lumberjack involved. This edge is just not quite behaving. Okay, can we go this way? So close to perfect, but no. 42. Yeah, over here getting the lighthouses is a significant swing. Oh. 48. Take those. And that's only really punished if I get lumberjacks or city centers. Yeah, I think that's the wrong play. I'm glad that I paused to think about it, because I think this is superior. So I have a 27 out there. I have a 24 that's a lot more, or a 6 even, that's a lot more central over here. Or I can get a 26 over here, which I think is maybe a little likelier to work with my... Well, I actually don't know where my warehouse is going. I would have just said it's going down in here, but if it fits there, that would be better. I don't think it will, but I also did not suspect that building would fit, so... But like, my warehouse is probably not going here. That's too far from all of this. Okay, let's take the 26. Now we get to figure out how busted we can make this. Okay, so 52 is just like a good score, I will say, and also clipping it as far in here as we can is going to provide a lot of value, so let's get it. Now I can do silly stuff like this, where I actually will be getting pretty good scores from these buildings. I'm glad that I clustered these up. Now, can I... Yeah, I was about to say, does the 26 that I saw over here still exist? So I think certainly as a second fisher, this 26 is really nice. Park. The park that I've been talking about from the beginning, this is why we did it. So leaving those spaces for another brewery, you can see how much payoff that has. Not actually a ton, not as much as you might expect. The minus 11 is a big detriment. So sounds to me like we should just play some parks up here. I have 2 of them to place, and I don't think I placed them yet. I think I... It's difficult, because I'm not getting very many more buildings at all, so I'm trying to think what's coming up and what's going to see any improvement. Because if I got like a... Well, I was going to say if I got a terrace, I'd want to put it over here, but it might actually be better placed back here just for the brewery. Kind of a silly idea, but... Well, okay. Firstly, let's try and find 2 placements, preferably 3 placements that tag all of this stuff. I mean, that gets everything too. I think this is my best shot. I don't know if this is going to let me have a third mansion that scores everything, but maybe if I fit down the arm here, it'll detect. And if not, I mean, you know, these are still good mansions. This little ledge is a wee bit awkward, of course. Various like 16s and 18s, and scores that are not really impressing me, I must say. Okay, and we can check. Nope, not quite. Well, I'll wiggle it a few. Yeah, there we go. Okay. It just required a bit of convincing. And if I was going to place a park over here, I should have done it initially, but I was pretty confident that I wasn't, so I didn't even bother checking. We'll take hut. I don't need 2 cliff houses. That's not going to do a lot for me. Some various 19s, which I feel okay about. We'll also have some nice houses around here. Cool. Okay, well, in the spirit of benefiting those houses, I'll play my mansion more over here, and then I'll leave that spot and start getting into these houses. I don't think anything that I'm holding is going to care about how I place this stuff. I was trying to think if I needed to specifically cluster in a certain area or whatnot, but we'll see if I end up really regretting this with a hermitage or something, but can't play for every case. Okay, so the sauna probably should come down before houses. I think it's a 1-point difference. It gets +1 for the house and +2 for the sauna. So the sauna is not like a peak way to increase house value, but might have been an extra point or 2. Okay, so I can get 65 or 69. Nice. And 69 appears to be like a perfect score. Like that's getting every tree, every positive scoring building. I believe the hut goes down first for a 1-point difference. Okay. And in the case of the hut, everything that it wants is already played. I saw a 20, so we're not taking worse than a 20 here. But there are... Oh, 21. That's good to see. And there are some like 23s that I saw grayed out. We'll see if they're playable. Okay. Yeah, great. 23. And that seems like everything positive and only 1 negative, so that's going to be hard to beat. And then hard to beat and just outside my detection. Nope, 72. That is 69 plus 3, which is what we were looking for. Over here, it might benefit like a cliff house or something. Trying to think if it's actually better for me to play it over here and keep scoring the houses on it. So this is solvable. Over here, I could reposition the hut. So I could get, let's call it 68 points. So I can get a 65 pretty easily. So 68 versus 72, 4-point swing. So the 3 houses scoring it would be enough, but like this house would not quite reach it. And I would have to deduct a few points from moving the hut to be a little more in its range. So I actually, you know what? I think this is the play. By kind of a narrow margin, but seems right to me. And if I end up taking Cliff House, I can put it like right there to score both of those. Because right now, I think this spot may be better, but it's not like incredible. That said, I'm still taking one tower over one Cliff House. I'm not a madman. And 110 points is already getting a little tight with these buildings, so this island will be wrapping up shortly. In service of that goal, I should just play high number. I shouldn't worry too much about playing for longevity or anything. So I think this is good versus trying to do like a this and then get a park on it or something. This seems superior. And yeah, this wasn't tagging it either way, so who cares? And 23, probably going to be the best. Yeah, I mean, like a 32 perfect score, if I can only get access to 23, maybe 25 of that, that's fine with me. I should ponder if I can place these two in a better configuration. So I can go 22 into 26, what I had there, versus 25 into 23, which is the exact same, but in a different order. I don't think there's any difference in the score of those two approaches. I know I'm kind of really hung up over just these two houses, but we're kind of at the point now where like missing a point here or there is going to have consequence. So I'm going to make sure to really maximize the score of these houses. Yeah, even fidgeted in like that, I'm not sure I'll be able to get this far enough over while still scoring 24. 22 is like no big deal, but if I could get a 24 that then allowed me to place this here, that would be a higher score for the two of these together. Doesn't seem like it's happening though. So let's just take a 25 into a... Well, I would place this 20, but I'm actually going to leave this spot in case I get another square, because I can come over and do this kind of stuff instead. So... I ended up placing at least one over here. In which case, maybe I should have placed it before the mansions? That'd be kind of hard to predict. But what's not hard to predict is that now I have to figure out, well, what's the next shape? Okay, next shape is also square. So I need to figure out how to place two square parks here that destroy the least total number of trees. So let's start with a 19 that only kills one tree. And then if I need to place two in here, it'll be okay. And, well, I don't know. I think I can actually do better. I think I do just take... So this kills 3 trees, this kills 3 trees, and this is gonna kill 2 trees? Assuming that I can fit 2 parks along here, which I'm not I'm no longer as convinced of as I once was, then that's probably okay. Okay, really getting down in the weeds now. So, okay, that isn't placeable. That's what I thought. So I have like a 42 down here. That's pretty good. Also 40 up here. The +7 of the dock really pulls it upwards. This would have also been a 42, so no real loss there. If I am going to take this 42, is there a way that I can productively place and score this building? I mean, if nothing else, I can get 4 points out here and then have it be detected by the warehouse for an additional 5. I think I can get my remaining score without it, though. So maybe I just place on. Maybe I look for, there's a 58 out here. Maybe it was a 48. 48 sounds more reasonable. I think I had line of sight on, I mean, I guess I should check it, but I just spent so long piddling over 1 or 2 other points that I really should do my due diligence here. But yeah, it seems like 48, not a lot of wiggle in that. And then we're going to come in here with a problem, because you can't fit 2 across, as foretold. Okay, well, let me try it the other way at least. No, not even close. Okay, so we can just take the high score, which I think is a 27. So we're only fitting 1 up here either way. And then there was like a 19. But I can probably place the 19 first. And then this is still a 27. Yeah. All right. So as you can see, we are scoring lots of things on the statue, even though it's not the city. And this is actually a slightly larger city than I'm used to having. I think I got either lucky or unlucky, depending on how the scores shake out, just in when I got these buildings. Oh, and this is comparable but not better to a 19. I really did not do my due diligence in checking other alternatives before placing this 19. Because actually, if I can get a 18 out here, but I guess I'm still placing 23. There's nothing else competitive with that. All right, all right. Oh, and I did the 19 first anyway. I'm forgetting. Okay, so the 27, and then 23. Cool. So tavern up here can score everything, and then I just need to place brewery like down here. I don't think there's anywhere else. I guess I can go there. Okay, so if I, this might be better. So I have a 42 over here. So I can do a 42 with a 4-point brewery, or I can do a 6-point brewery on a 40. So it's actually exactly the same. I think I'm going to get a market next. I think my next building option is going to be market. So really my only spot to put it is down here. There's nowhere else that looks like even large enough, maybe not even out here. So if my market's going there, then I guess this is a little closer on the warehouse. Man, if only. So I can get +4 right there. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I didn't really do right by this brewery. It's a shame, but can't prioritize every building. And I think leaving this spot open for the brewery would have been some like real genius level prediction. I don't see myself seeing that far ahead anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, unless I don't really see a reason not to do it this way. This 35 is pretty generous. So I can place this like there, and then, yeah, find the 47 still exists, and then this is a 53, which is pretty good. And then if this doesn't get me buildings, then I have to go tower. Oh, tower's even less. Yeah, because I did late city. Okay, so 53, 47, and 39, and I need 102 points. So no matter what, I have to place all three. Doesn't matter. I don't know if that's actually optimal tower placement. Let me consider it just for a moment. So I guess it only really matters with like a mansion, and I don't think a mansion's gonna be placed around here anyway. I think I'm just getting a market, so I'll just place the tower just kind of to place it, but... Oh, okay, well, Fortune Teller, I think, is still gonna be worth more than Cliff House. So one Cliff House placed right there is gonna score Mansion, Mansion, Shaman, City Center. Probably not City Center. I think these are close. I mean, obviously neither is great scoring. 22 though. I'm not sure I would have gotten 22 from my first Cliff House. 24, 25, okay, yeah. Fine by me. 25, all right, took about an hour. That is the first island. Now let's move on and see what our between island points add up to and hope that we get a good draw for our second island. So the second island is going to determine a lot of your score because it gets end of island scoring. Ooh, just short of 5,000. So my previous run was 5,500. So we are roughly 10% off of that. I think double score multiplier is pretty good. Tropical is way better for Verger. I guess let's try this. Okay. Initially, doesn't look great, chat. I'll tell you what. My initial thoughts, this is just a bad island shape, and I mean, it's beautiful. I don't mean to denigrate the work of these great artists, but in terms of how high of a score I can expect to get, I don't think this is it, Chief. Whenever you've got islands that are this super vertical, buildings down here are never going to detect buildings up here, unless you have like the mountain shrine or something. You're going to see that carried out throughout. So I'm just kind of assuming this run is dead in the water based on this island delivery, which does mean that I can play a little looser with the rest of the island. So on grass, I get a large amount of verdure resource. On sand, I just get the blooming trees. So that's already going to be kind of a problem. And these blooming trees are the spots that become fish. So if I get that like fourth flower that I was discussing last time, you can get 4 objects, but you will not be able to get a fish, I think. and 3 trees. I think it'll either be a fish, a flower, and 2 trees, or 3 trees, or 3 trees and a flower, I believe. And these trees are pre-bloomed, so you want them to be on the outskirts. Yeah, I mean, it's something. So I just added 6 trees to this area, basically. Got some small pittance of points. Normally I would take lumber, but I think because of the grassy nature here, I'm actually gonna go over into seaweed. I do want to try and get one more good verdure in this area, but it may not exist. I can do 2 trees, but that's not worth paying for. Okay. So if we are abandoning that verdure, let us instead, or maybe in addition, play for this ledge down here. So if I don't worry about the statue, I can drop that flowering tree off the side and do one like that. Creating those flowers is still a big problem, though. Yeah, that's a little better. Now you can see this is an entirely different shape of verdure, so that's going to change how I lay out my plants. Now I can utilize this linear shape a little better if I leave it room like that. Okay, so hopefully I can place some lumberjacks along this ledge and get both clumps. That's the new goal. Now, for my seaweed, I think out here looks good. So again, I kind of, this run I do not think is in contention. I think this island shape is just bad enough that even with incredible building luck, it being a desert and it being a rough island shape, I just don't think it's going to be able to beat even my previous score, nonetheless the high score. So because I am not constrained by that goal, I'm able to play a little faster and looser, but I don't want to just give you one island of playthrough. Okay. I mean, not a lot going on here that I like. I think this area has just become so flowered that it's going to be nigh on impossible for me to get much more going on. I guess I can get 2 trees. Like so. And then, yeah, a little bit of this is buildable. So we can at least have split green and lumber. So I can do lumber up here and then green down here. And maybe that won't be as disastrous. I can't quite get the statue. Okay. Still gonna delay city. Wow, double seaweed farm there is really good. I really wish I hadn't had to play 3 seaweeds already, but here we are. So I gotta think about where both of these go. It's possible that one goes right here. That spot has already kind of been exhausted, but there'll be a few more. I'm just going to place this to check. There'll be like probably 2 fields I can place tagging that versus I could go as close as like here and then one. Well, just trying to think of there's also being one here. I guess This isn't ideal. This was not the best first place to put one. I can tell that I'm hurrying a little bit, but so it is. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it allows for triples. It's not ideal, obviously, but it's something. So now that I have this large shape, because I can just do that, and then, because there's not even like, I'm not getting multiple triples out of this. We'll take the single triple that is permitted. And just play on this a little bit. Let's see what boon we're getting. I mean, certainly, I think duplicate is a little stronger in general. I do think I'm going to take Terrace. Yeah. I think the Terrace is going to score well. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. Which at this stage does kind of matter to me. And we can do some fun lighthouse stuff. That's actually just like clearly wrong. I should just go ahead and play my fields, even if I'm not taking all my time with this island. That's no excuse to be super sloppy. Brickmaker is another good one because you're not going to be holding on to the sand pits, but they do score okay. Like, they're not thrilling, but they do generate some score, and that does matter to some degree. Where is my city gonna go? And maybe it just also goes up here. Expanded like this or something. Trying to think where my masons are going to go, which will determine my brickyards, will determine my sand pits. But I think there's a bunch of flat area up here, and I've chosen not to verdure it, even though I guess maybe starting over from scratch with the verdure up here would have been better. That's a good thing to keep in mind for the future. Yeah, okay, so if I'm building my city all the way up there, masons along here are even like a bit far out. I could place this more like up here, which then requires my sand to be... Yeah, it's fine. We'll try it. And then... yeah, really nothing around here that I love. Not scores that I love, I should say. These scores are mediocre, but I will soldier on. Some 16s, those aren't bad. Oh, okay. I'll take the level up. So now I'm playing for level up value. Just looking at my buildings, I think I start here. Yeah, let's go one field space out. And then start filling this in. That's a lot of value as well. And of these buildings, I actually think the sawmill is the least likely to lose, or the least likely to gain value, most likely to lose. Yeah, typical. Okay, so I could just slam this up here. Most of this space is not going to get taken up by fields, no matter how I do it. It's also not too late to pivot, but I think place and then I mean, obviously all this is Brickyard locked as well, and I won't be placing it for a while either way. Okay, we can do a lighthouse. Okay, not ideal, but I've seen worse, and I do have a bunch of masons that can benefit from a sustainable. Maybe the sawmill as well. Now, I don't need very many more points. Oh, I totally should have placed these seaweed fields first, even if one or two of them have to be single taggers. And so far, looks like I am coming up on the single tag apocalypse. That's good. Second mill is fun. And I have sustainable, so I can do a 20-point sustainable. Is that good? I think so. 20 is a lot. We can just do one of these. And then, yeah, we're already looking at a 23-point field. That's pretty good. Hard to disagree with that. Just clip that into the statue as far as possible. Alright, now on the subject of my shaman, some various 25s. Use the little bit slope here. You can see this sand right here, even though it is the exact same color, is actually, even though it isn't sloped upwards, it does block the rays. Huh. I was expecting it to be unbuildable, but it actually, yeah, until you get to this point here, which is a little more obvious, I would say. This slope here is unbuildable, even though it's the exact same color as the ground around it, and you can occasionally sort of see the boundary of it as the building clips through it. Oh, there you go. You can see the shadow there along the edge. So I mean, I think city center at least is going up here, so but I do want to avoid getting my masons and my shaman mixed up. Okay, let's start with... I don't love playing singles, but I think we do that, and then... Singles meaning a field that only tags one farm. But yeah, I don't think I have any doubles left, so we'll place that out. Then we can do second lighthouse. Wow, there's actually like a better lighthouse up here. I underestimated it. Should have placed that first. Now that I have missed it, though, there's a 40 or like 42. And getting some pretty good scores from some of these buildings. Second shaman's kind of fun. Haven't placed a city center yet, so obviously I can't pyre. Yeah, I think at this point, probably don't want to hold out any longer, so we can place that, and then do I do an 8-point sustainable? That feels weak. Feels like I don't have to go that bad. Do I place an 18-point sustainable on a shaman? Do I stack both my shamans right here? What are they helping once they're down there? Probably not. Probably nothing. When instead I could make lots of problems for myself. Okay, had to pause for a minute because my nightlight was turning on. So now that I have placed these, I must solve the shaman. But I suppose the shaman and the terrace don't care about each other. So I can figure this out. Oh, but I need to figure out, because the terrace does care about the city center, which does care about the shaman. Okay. I had the order of operations right the first time. So I don't think that's worth a sustainable. I think I just go 16 that will actually help me into, what was it, 23 that won't? Or like a 31 that I'm playing just for score? 33, 35? Okay, as these scores get higher, it is getting more palatable to play this building just for score. Looked like a 33, but I actually need a 37. Okay, Fisher suck on big vertical islands like this because the water is far away from the mountain. Simple answer. Yeah, that placement looked just about perfect, actually. Because now I can go like so. And this is so flat as to not impede buildings. And if I did place some mansions around here, they are not very good, as you can see, but they are probably as good as they are going to get. So 27 is probably perfect. I hope I could get better than a 10-point shaman, but that might not be feasible. Or sorry, not shaman, Fisher. So I can do a 19 out here. That's not bad. I might even be able to stretch my harbor a little more this direction. So yeah, now I can get like a 36, which seems fine. I don't think it's going to get better, at least not short term. So I will play on the mainland in case I decide to build houses over there. Not saying it's likely, but there's a chance. And then 17 is pretty good. And there will be at least a few other pretty good mansions up here. Second city center is kind of fun. So a perfect one here would be a 28. Oh, I saw that. It was like awkwardly on the rock somehow. But I saw it flash placeable. And you know that, yep, there we go. Yeah, let's just place that for score and to transition the city down into this area. Like, maybe now I'll do some stuff like this. This has become more of like sort of a testing environment for me, since I am obviously not going to be competing on the score front any longer. Yeah, desert in general is kind of rough on the verger. I would have needed I would have either needed to just commit verger onto the grass. Like, this was a mistake, ultimately. I'm glad to have learned from it, but vergering 3 bloomed trees is not exciting. It's not going to do it. But that does mean that I can wrap things up here in a reasonable time frame. Come on. You can work with me here. The shaman urge to be positioned on a cliff in just such a way that you cannot be reached by mansions. Like, that's not far enough forward. Yeah, I'm gonna double check it, but it does seem like that detection is not going to be functional. Oh, even just the placement doesn't work. Okay, that does simplify things. Good, good, good. Because now I can actually just... immediately second guess myself, but okay. We'll move on. I'm sure there's some cursed plateau location around here. I'm trying to decide how long I want to hunt for it, but I'm intrigued by the possibilities of plateaus. Like, I think there is tech that I am still learning about how to place them at different elevations, or sort of to leave an unsupported corner. There are rare occasions where I manage to make that work. And, like, for example, being able to place this here would be pretty good, but I don't currently believe it's possible. But if it is, that is a technique that I would need to explore. So maybe instead we just take the 34. It's like a pretty good score when placed. And my second city center is going to be almost impossible to share line of sight with my first. Like, this angle and this angle are going to be kind of rough. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's narrowly possible down here. It's a 32 and is not getting any of the lumber, versus I can get like a 38 up here that does tag the lumber. 36 along the shoreline. Yeah, let's start with 38. And can just do a little bit of this. So the sauna, at least, is going to be able to get all of these houses, or sorry, all these trees. It's not going to be able to get any houses. My brain was already angling in that direction. So the value, once again, having a really vertical island introduces challenges, because the sauna, you know, even if I had done my greenery up on the peak, there's just no way to, like, maximum height that I can get out of this thing is like just scraping the top of that peak. Like, there's no way I'd be able to place it like this to really get full inclusion. So there's a few like 60s. '63 is my current peak that I've seen. I'm gonna try and place some other stuff first, but I don't want to take out any more trees, so that might limit what I'm able to place. It's interesting that this little placement down here is still buildable. Because that really is like a narrow spot. Nice, though. It's always nice to find those. I think the kind of Tetris aspect of Islanders is a big part of its success. I think it is so much fun to just find little ways to wiggle buildings together. Yeah, and we can see this island. Obviously, I was not trying as hard, but I don't think that I made like massive errors. Like, I'm sure that, you know, I probably could have gotten 10 points here or there from various buildings, but I'm already running out of steam way ahead of where my previous island did. And I haven't even, you know, I probably should have been more thoughtful about when I busted out these boons, but yeah, getting an unlucky island shape early on, death sentence. Like, early on, you're not going to be able to get many points from the island, because you just don't have enough runway that if your initial placements aren't high scoring, you're not going to be able to transition that. Now, obviously, in a 20 island run, these first few islands, you know, 4-digit scores don't matter at all. Like, they're, you know, 1% of your total score, if even that. So in a 20 island run, you don't really have to worry about this kind of stuff. But in this 3 island mini mode for the challenge, a single bad island shape is going to be dooming. Okay, well, fortunately I did remember my sustainable, so I can do 1 sustainable, and I already did the sauna, so it's okay for me to kill a few trees if it has to come to that. And 15. And hopefully this gets me a level. If it doesn't, I've been messing up and need to... Okay. We can cancel this. I can actually use this opportunity. I wish that I'd done it with the sawmill, but I wasn't really thinking strategically, given the terms here. So anyway, this is like a microcosm example of some of the new tech that we figured out with undo. So this is -1. This is so silly, but this is technically an example. So when I -1 here, I can then level up to gain all of those points, and then undo the building. So you get a point back because you placed a -1 building and then you undid it. So obviously with a -1, who cares about 1 point? But if you placed, like, you know, a -500 point guild hall or something, and then leveled up, gaining 500 extra points, and then undid the negative guild hall, recovering the building, recovering any boons that you used, it's powerful tech. And I could have potentially used it with a negative sawmill here. But I'm already a little checked out of this run. We're just going to wrap this up and then be done with recording for today. I do apologize that it has been a while since my previous video. That is probably not going to change for a bit. I'm just spending my time elsewhere, and I'm just kind of like a small-time hobbyist YouTuber, so it's not like something that I put a lot of time into usually. I had a huge spurt of activity with the release of New Shores, but yeah, just fair warning, if you would like additional Islanders content, I really can't speak well enough of Snooze. I think Snooze's content is really entertaining, and I think if you enjoy what I do, you'll like his videos as well. So again, just look in the video description. There'll be a link to his channel. He definitely deserves your views and has a backlog of content that you can watch through, which will hopefully satisfy you. But that was my second island. Played a little more sloppily. I did learn some things, though. So as always, it's good to kind of refine your play and think critically about the decisions you're making. Verdure on sand, bad. I think I'm going to avoid this at almost any cost in the future. I mean, I think just having 3 trees from 1 verdure instead of like 6 makes an enormous difference. It makes a difference in all of your payoff buildings, and the verdures themselves are lower scoring. This was fine. This, as a first placement, was probably bad. I probably should have started here, and then I could have built around the exterior, like maybe this triangle would have been stronger. Because by the time that you filled this area, like none of these were even tagging 2. Because I'd built myself into kind of a corner here, I didn't really have anywhere to expand, so that's good to avoid. Only got 1 sand, only got 1 brick. And then some of the things that I did here were not very smart. I think this is like not the most optimal layout of this city, but I do think that fields around the statue is kind of interesting. Yeah, of all the Island 2s, this sure is one of them. So we're going to see what our end of island score is, and I'm going to cut the video here, chop this up, get it uploaded, but I hope that you all enjoyed watching. There will be breaks before more content comes out, but there will be more Islanders New Shores in the future. I am dedicated to doing at least 1 more high score run. And I did actually get a stellar with a wisp here, which would be a very good Island 3. I don't think it could be good enough to make up for my lackluster performance on Island 2, but we will at least take a look at this pretty island. Oh, this shape. Okay, very neat. Well, I won't be playing this, but this has been a short journey challenge. For perspective, these are the current high scores. Oh, we have a move up, even, I think, since I started recording this. I think I showed this earlier, but 1CZY2 has successfully claimed the top spot of the leaderboard. This looks like a score that people are clustering around, so maybe there's some kind of reasonable inherent limit here. But speaking of main game score, I have been moved down a couple ranks. There's a little cluster here of those of us getting similar scores, and even these are not far off. Then we have Fluff, who is way in the lead. I do believe this could be a legitimate score. I have no reason to believe that Fluff is a cheater. I don't know anything about this person. But additionally, I do think a score this high is possible using some of the new techniques that we've explored. So I think actually Snooze has been doing a high score run, so we might see a much higher score appear soon. If he was going into Island 20 with a bunch of sealed boons, he wouldn't be anywhere near this score. And I don't think I can like scroll further down and just check other lower ranked folks. So I can't find him on the leaderboard to make predictions yet, but hope that you enjoyed this content. Check out Snooze for some more Islander recordings, and if you are patient, there will be more New Shores here as well. It just might take a little bit. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night. See you here next time.